Today I will be comparing Nick Walker to who is the greatest bodybuilder to never win a Mr. Olympia, Kai Greene. In this video I'm giving myself and my guest, Jake Ultimate Fitness, 20 minutes to decide a winner in this matchup over the 2 rounds of judging I have in my comparisons. For the versions being used today, for Nick I just wanted to keep it relevant, so I went with the better of his 2 versions from 2025 so far, that being the Pittsburgh Pro. For Kai there were a couple of good options, but I decided to pick a lesser known one. I didn't go with any of his Olympia versions, nor any of his Arnold versions. I went with his 2013 Prague Pro package. It's like a blend of a more streamlined package pre-2012 and something bigger and denser from 2014 on. So this is a very formidable package. It's going to be hard for anyone to beat this. Can Nick Walker do it? How close does he get? Let's jump into today's video to find out. If you guys like these types of videos, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more. Jake, you're back.
Yes, I am.
But we can't keep things too informal today. We've got some good business to do. You come back and you'll be on a podcast soon enough. This isn't exactly a podcast, but I've got something. It's our job. If no one were doing bodybuilding comparisons and bodybuilding videos, the world would be in a much worse place, like substantially worse. So we need to make sure we're clocking in and doing this because it is important. So I have a comparison for us to do today. You familiar with those?
Oh yeah. I used to do those back in my prime.
Your prime. Yeah, I remember prime Jake. But let me pull it up. I don't want to give too much away because we'll go through all the poses. We're talking about Kai Greene versus Nick Walker today. I saw a video, I saw a photo of like their rear doubles posted on Instagram. Someone sent it to me, and I was like, I gotta run the full comparison. And I think in ways they're kind of similar, but I mean, I don't know. What do you think off the jump, off the rip here?
Overall between them, I would say that Kai Greene is the more genetically superior competitor all around. I think he has less flaws than Nick. I think he looks more aesthetic, which isn't a trademark quality of Kai, but yeah, I do prefer Kai Greene honestly in more poses than Nick. Just
you haven't. Yeah, only in your feeble mind. You haven't
I've never done a comparison between them. You know, who knows? Nick Walker could win this one. I wouldn't doubt it because I think he could win the Olympia. Would the IFBB let him do that? I don't think so.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. So we're going to be using my regular scoring system. So that's 2 points for narrow wins, 3 points for solid wins, 4 points for dominant wins. So we're going to go through 8 poses and 4 overall physique categories. So we're judging the 8 mandatories, but also those things that kind of slip through the cracks: overall muscularity, condition, shape, and then whatever flaws these guys may have. And then we'll average the scores together and determine a winner.
Got it. Sounds good.
Any questions?
No, I think I got it. I think everything makes sense.
Let me put 15 minutes on the clock. You know, some people in the comments say you're a big yapper, Jake.
Yeah, so I'll try to keep it down.
Yeah, you'll have to keep it down. Okay, 15 minutes on the clock. Excuse me. Starting in 3, 2, 1. You can have the first pose. You have the floor. What are you thinking on the front double here?
I mean, first of all, I look at their arms. I honestly think that Nick Walker might have more quality to his arms overall, like the separation, the hardness, the detail. But
gotta have those forearms.
Yeah, you gotta have the forearms as well, which Nick Walker has for days. But then you look at someone like Kai, and the biceps and the triceps really pop out, and they have that fullness quality that Nick kind of lacks, I would say. Yeah. Midsection for midsection, I would say they're even. But I do prefer the tilt and the artistry from Kai Greene here.
Me as well.
And obviously the legs go to Kai Greene, there's no question. I will say that Nick does have more detail. Maybe those varicose veins are adding a little bit detail as well. But he has this grainy, hard quality across his entire physique that really makes him stand out, in my opinion. But come on, I got to go with Kai Greene in my opinion. He looks a lot better.
The biggest difference these two have is their actual bone structure. Long limbs always make you look more aesthetic. That's just more natural to the human eye.
Yeah.
And Nick Walker is like the opposite. He has a longer torso, shorter limbs, especially shorter legs. I don't think this is an overwhelming win for Kai at all, although I do
Not at all.
think
Yeah.
I'm going with two.
I would say two as well. I would say, you know, torso for torso though, it's very close. Like upper body for upper body, very close between the two. I think Nick has some qualities that counteract what Kai brings upstairs, but then that lower body kind of seals the deal for Kai Greene, I think, which is why, you know, 2 points makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, okay. I don't think we need to talk. We can save some time here.
Yeah, I think Nick Walker would win this one. The midsection alone, that's the pose. The overall midsection development, come on.
I think
Nobody's
the
had
only
that today.
debate, the only real debate here between Kai and Nick is, do you make it 3 points or 4? How much slack do you really cut Nick? I mean, he has the lats, but it's
Yeah.
just the structure is just so unfortunate.
The thing is, there's not one thing that I can point out on Nick that, you know, Kai doesn't have. And you might say that Nick has the lats, but I would chalk that up to posing, in my opinion. I think he puts his arms a lot higher up on the torso,
Yeah.
which, you know, closes that gap. And I've been saying this for a long time for someone like Nick Walker. He's got to put his arms up higher to create less of the gap. And if Kai did the same thing, he would look a lot more filled out. But I do think it makes you look a bit scrunched, and that's what's happening with Nick. So yeah, Kai Greene 4-point victory in my opinion. I could see 3 because Nick has some standout qualities like the condition, the lats again.
You're going to get that from Kai.
But yeah, exactly. And that's what I was going to say. And Kai shows more detail as well, in my opinion, in the chest, the arms. So yeah, I would say 4 points easy. Maybe it's the lighting though. The lighting could play a
Lighting at the Prague was insane. But you know what?
yeah.
I'll cut Nick some slack. He's using a bad photo. I'll do it. I'll do it. It's 3 points. You know what? No, I can't do that. I can't do that. Look at that pose. Look at that pose. I can't do
exactly.
that.
I just think
Kai's
Nick
is underrated.
Nick can't win against anyone in this pose, all things considered, you know, when everyone else is at the
William
same
Martins?
pass. Oh, you know what? You're right. Yeah.
My favorite bodybuilder, actually.
Yeah. No, he is my second favorite bodybuilder after.
And I'm your first.
You're third. It goes William Martins. Oh, next Zilla, sorry.
Oh,
And then-
yeah. Okay.
Let's get to the next pose.
This is an interesting one. The only
Yeah.
problem I have for Kai is the gut.
Yeah, I would agree. Honestly, too, I have a problem with Nick's midsection in this
I do
pose
as well.
I don't like, and a lot of guys do this. You look at someone like Derek Lunsford did it a lot in the side chest in the past and in the side tricep, where like the bottom portion of the midsection sags out. I don't like that, but there's no comparison between the two in the midsection. Kai obviously is like distended and protruding there, and Nick looks a lot tighter for what it's worth, but both show similar detail considering that, you know, Nick's midsection is tighter. I'd say that Kai still has decent detail, but there's no excuse. I can't justify it at all.
You're giving this to Nick.
Honestly, I would give it to Nick because the total pose looks better. Kai, I think, has better looking arms, a better looking shoulder, a fuller looking chest, but all of those things are negated basically by that midsection. I can't look past it.
Well, you know, the more I look at, everyone says Nick has a monopoly on side poses. I think the side triceps very good. I think the side chest is very good. The more I look at like the recent, I just miss the pecs. And Kai's chest, it wasn't that strong either. But look at the near pec fullness compared to Nick, even
Exactly.
the far one. And
Fortunately, it looks good, you know.
He's winning the arm, like you mentioned. The only thing I wouldn't give him is probably the side leg because Nick has more separation, but Kai has the size. And I hate both of their midsections, but Kai's is obviously more egregious. But he's doing more right. I'm giving a narrow win to Kai.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. I would. Here's the thing. I think that Nick as a whole has less things that stand out in a negative way, but Kai has more things that stand out in a positive sense.
Okay.
Right? So it's really close here. It depends on what you prefer. I would say, according to today's modern standards, the judges would see that midsection and punish him because that's
fair.
what they're focusing on today. But you go back to 2013, and they would probably look at this and say, that's a tight midsection. That's controlled. So, who knows? I can definitely see why you're giving it to Kai, and I honestly, a part of me wants to go with Kai as well. But
You're right. The main point is Kai has more standout things in a good way, but also more standout things in a bad way. Nick more
yeah,
well-rounded. So you're giving a narrow win to Nick?
I would give Nick the 2-point win, but I totally understand giving Kai the 2-point win as well. I think it's fair.
Okay. Very good pose up here.
Yeah.
I don't think this photo does Kai justice. I gotta say that.
Yeah, I would say, honestly, I've seen Kai look absolutely monstrous in the rear double before, and here he looks insane too. You can't take anything away from that. I think the place we should look at first, though, would be the lower body, because I think that's where it truly is the closest between these two. I've always thought that Kai had a really impressive lower body when it came to the hamstrings, the glutes, everything like that, the outer quad sweep, even the calves. But Nick, in my opinion, has the best lower body we've seen in years from behind.
Yeah.
The hamstring, the glutes, the calves, they're all very
hamstring
complete.
posing has been better except for Pittsburgh. Usually when
Really?
he kicks the leg back a bit more, you get those finer chords.
I still think it looks really impressive here.
Yeah.
I haven't done a lot of comparisons with Nick in the past in general, so maybe I don't notice that. But I think that Nick is winning in the hamstrings, but narrowly, because Kai has some of the best of all time as well.
Right, of course.
Nick just has more thickness, though, and those lines are deeper, in my opinion, but it's close. And lighting has a lot to play with that there, too.
Of course.
Glutes and calves, I would say, are equal, and the outer quad sweep is comparable. Not the same.
Nick's
because
really
they have
doing
different size.
the squatted stance, and that really helps.
Yeah.
Kai, sometimes he does the overposing thing.
Yeah.
I hate that, and
Yeah.
we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a couple of poses. Okay.
So I think I would narrowly give Nick the lower body, though. I think
Okay.
very slightly, because it's close.
I would agree.
He definitely outposes Kai, for sure. Then we look at the backs. I would
And
say,
it's like thickness versus detail.
yeah, thickness versus detail, and Nick does have that more dramatic pop to the lats because they insert a little higher.
No.
Really, you don't think so?
Kai, we'll look at this video. No, we'll look at this
Look
video.
at the video.
Kai's lats are look. I don't know if you ever saw this picture of him standing backstage.
I know what you're talking about.
And they just hang off him.
I know they do, but in this picture, based on what I'm seeing, you can't tell me that Nick's lats look like they flare out more dramatically in the sense that they have that pop.
Well, maybe the sizing is off. better arms and
true.
delts. Better arms and
Yeah.
delts. I don't like it.
Totally delts. Better
Kai has
delts for Nick all the way.
A lump? Some lumps?
Yeah, honestly, I would give the arms and the delts to Nick easily. Same with the traps. Obviously, that was a weakness for Kai throughout his career.
Sure.
The lats and the thickness and everything like that, though, go to Kai. And honestly, this is where you have to think to yourself, are the areas where Kai is losing in, is that disparity a lot compared to where Nick is winning? And are the places where Kai is winning in, is that disparity large compared to where Nick is losing in? I feel like it's again a very close pose.
I hate to do this, and I hate to be that guy, but because I swear by picture comparisons, but
Yeah.
I'm going out on a limb here and saying I think it would be close, but Kai in real life would beat Nick.
I think so too. And that's what I thought going into this. Kai has one of the best backs of all time. And I wouldn't even dare to say that Nick has anything close to that.
Oh, he's top 20, at least.
He has a very complete rear double bicep pose.
But not the best back.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
I just think there's some areas that he's lacking in. And don't get me wrong, Kai's lacking in the traps as well. But when you look at the lats and the thickness and everything, it looks totally complete and well-rounded and developed, right? And it looks proportional to his physique. So yeah, Kai could benefit from better posing for sure. But I think you're right. In real life, Kai would win, but it would be close.
I think 2 points?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Okay, I want to let you know, for the posing section, we have 4.5 minutes left.
Okay, let's go fast then. Rear lat spread. I would honestly, with these two pictures, I would go with Nick.
Well, to be fair, Kai never, even when he was opened up all the way, his lats were so thick all the way to the bottom, there's no taper. It's kind of just it's like a bowl rather than a V.
I would go with Nick, though, still, just because I think he has more detail. Kai's thicker, but Nick has that better lower body still, opens up better. I think it's pretty clear, in my opinion.
Man, the scorecard's all fucked up here. Oh,
We're wasting valuable time. I guess we can come back to the scorecard
I've given
after the
Kai every
timer's run out.
pose. I've given Kai every pose, correct?
I think so, yeah.
Except this one. Yeah, and you've differed.
And the side chest is, I mean, that was a very slight difference, But
Yeah. Okay.
so side tricep, I'm interested for this one actually. Okay, yeah, Nick wins.
Pretty easily. No, yeah, actually, yeah. I'll say that.
I've seen Kai hit it better, but yeah, I mean Nick wins in the tricep outright. The side leg presentation, just give it to him.
Midsection.
Win.
Are you giving it 3? That's a number. No, that's a 3.
I was gonna say 3. 2, I think Kai would have had to have a tighter midsection for it to be 2.
Yeah, I would agree.
3 makes sense. I mean,
here's an interesting one.
You gave me a 2. You gave me a 2.
Oh, did I?
Wow, you're trying to mess up the scorecard here.
Yeah, we're going to go back and check this. Okay, and then here's an interesting one.
Ooh.
Now, are you gonna count the side oblique?
I normally count it.
I normally
count it. Because you look at someone like Bonac, he only hits that variation really now.
Well, he should be disqualified.
We'll get into that after because we don't want the timer to run out.
No, we don't. 2.5 minutes.
Kai is great in the ab and thigh in the head-on variation. I think
with that thick as a brick, even worse than Nick.
I think he does a good job at hitting this pose because those lats insert so low. Look at the feathering and the detail in the quads and the sweep. And
look at the detail in Nick's quads. Look at the blockier abs. Look at the flatter midsection.
I was going to say the same thing. I think that Nick is super underrated, but he's looked better in my opinion.
Yes.
The quads are at their best that I've ever seen them.
Yes.
I was really shocked with them here, but I don't know. There's something about the proportions I can't get over. The stubby legs. I would personally give a 2-point win to Kai, but I can see why you'd give Nick that 2-point win as well.
Yeah, okay. So it would be a 3-point win if not for Kai's side oblique. Because the abs on Nick are better. The legs, not bigger, but I mean, like, you're getting detail from both. You're getting great development
definitely.
from both.
I completely agree with that, but I feel like Kai has cleaner separation and cleaner, skin quality.
That he does.
You just look at the fine details in the obliques, even in the front-on shot, right? And
the abs, the waist.
Exactly. I mean, the waist, it's not, he poses it well, but let's go to that next pose. I think we already sealed the deal for that last one.
We got 1 minute. We got 1 minute.
Okay, this one, honestly, immediately going into it, I would probably think in my head I would go with Nick, right?
Okay.
But Kai isn't a slouch in that hands-on hip variation.
It's all right.
The crab is horrible, I will say.
The crab is pretty fucking bad.
That crab, because his shoulders and the biceps and the arms in general are kind of odd. But I feel like Nick, he looks great everywhere outside of the chest. Oh, there goes the lights. He looks everywhere good outside of the chest, in my opinion.
Okay.
But Kai isn't that good in the chest either. I would go with Nick, but Kai looks really respectable in the hands-on hip.
It's okay. It's not a very good most muscular. It's a better abs pose, honestly. Great quads, but the thing is, Kai's weakest point in this one is Nick's strongest, the arms and delts. And even the midsection on Nick is better. I think this is I think he's beating even Kai's best variation. Has to be 3 for me. Final answer, 10 seconds.
I would say 2.
Okay. Well, that's it. Well, now it's time to go to the second round. With 2 seconds to spare.
Oh, we did that. That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was hot.
Yeah.
All right, Jake. Now we're breaking this up into 2 categories, as I usually do in my comparisons, and now it's the second round of judging the 4 overall physique categories. So this is important to judge because we all know it's not just the 8 mandatory poses that determine bodybuilding. This is why someone like Phil Heath loses to Sean Roden, even though Phil was definitely beating him on more poses, because Phil had this flaw that weighed him down extracurricularly, but then also heavily in several poses. This is why the margins and the second round of judging is so important. This is why I have the best system in the world. Does that answer all your questions?
Yeah. That answers the questions.
Okay. So we have this video provided by Superset Man, by the way. Subscribe to his Superset Man Bliss channel. And so follow him on Instagram at the Superset Man. He came up with these videos. He didn't take them, but he came up with these videos. And what I have here is them going through the 8 mandatory poses in video, because I think that's important, and then we'll use this to judge on the 4 overall physique categories, which are muscularity, condition, shape, flaws.
Got it.
All right. 5 minutes on the clock for a total of 20 minutes.
Ooh.
Unless, should I make it 5 minutes and 2 seconds for the time we banked?
Yeah. That's 2 seconds back.
Okay. Starting 3, 2, 1. Okay, so let's talk about muscularity first and foremost. I'll play the video. Can I loop it? It's whatever. I'll get this out of the way. Kind of over here. Okay, muscle mass. I think this one's kind of close, but I don't know if you ever heard Phil Heath talk about Kai Greene. He's like foaming at the mouth. He's like, he's the densest bodybuilder ever. But what I think Phil means is the density per pound. Muscular, like we were talking about the back. Come on, man. Come on.
I would now probably give this one to Kai easily now. Then again, the angle's a bit different, but yeah, I think that Kai, muscularity wise, destroys Nick.
Ooh, no.
In my okay.
Let me say, muscularity. I incorporate like 3 things under that. Just overall, who's bigger, pound for pound muscularity and completeness.
Okay, I would say that Kai is more complete than Nick. I think that Kai looks better in most poses, apart from the side poses, but you look earlier on in his career and he looked a lot better. But if we're talking about just this comparison, then I would say it's closer. I think that Nick does a good job of managing his genetics.
That's a good way to put it.
Muscularity-wise, though,
managing his genetics.
I just feel like you look at Kai and he looks so dense. And Nick, he looks big, don't get me wrong. But Kai just reeks of mass and density. And it's probably because, where did Nick Walker go?
I looped the video, and one's shorter than the other.
So, I feel like with Kai, he has the shorter torso and the longer limbs. And that just kind of lends to his favor where he looks a lot denser overall. I would say that Kai looks denser to me.
2, 3, or 4 points.
Oh, I would probably give that category to 2 points. 2 points.
I am as well.
It's not a lot.
But you said Kai is more complete. I think he's more developed in a lot of areas, but that's maybe not the same thing. He's missing forearms, triceps, a little bit of delts. Even like the arms aren't as good as Nick. I think Nick is actually more complete. This is why I'm cutting him so much slack. But we got to move on. Condition. You making this a tie?
Yeah, because they have different types of condition.
Correct.
One's grainy and one's very detailed and like thin-skinned. It depends on what you prefer. I think that on stage, I think Nick would look more freaky. But in these pictures, Kai, those, thin-skinned details look really nice.
Better separation on Kai, but more that grainy hardness on Nick. But Kai is still very hard. I mean, this video is obviously not the best quality, and you can still see how thin the skin is.
100%, yeah.
So we'll make that a tie. I do ties in the overall physique categories. Then we have shape.
I'd have to go with Kai. I mean,
I don't think it's monstrous.
No. 2 points at most. But genetic shape-wise, Kai is definitely better.
Structure.
I mean, Kai has better genetics than Nick. I mean, let's face it. I think that that's very true. But Nick has, like I said, did a really good job throughout his career with managing his genetics and really
managing his genetics. I'm using that. I'm going to use that.
I'm telling you, it's a good phrase.
No, that's a good one.
Kai definitely wins, though, with 2 points at least, I would say.
You don't want to make it 3? I think I'm going to make it 2.
I'd say 2. I'd still say 2. I think that Nick doesn't look really that bad.
I don't think so either. I think for modern open, it's not too bad.
It's really, in my opinion, just the
structure.
The only pose he looks bad in is the front lat spread. Really.
Okay. A little over a minute.
Yeah.
Flaws. This is stuff like posing, torn muscles, sweating. For Nick, people are immediately going to say the stomach sticking out at Pittsburgh, and we include that because it's the Pittsburgh version. For Kai, maybe you want to say overposing. I think either way, I'm giving Kai the small victory because he's the less flawed individual.
I would say if we're talking about flaws, I'd say even. Honestly, I'd say a tie.
Okay.
Because Kai also has that protruding midsection.
This is true.
Things like that, and Nick also has a better set of genetics when it comes to completeness, like we spoke about when it came to like the forearms and stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'm all over the place because we're out of time or we're running out. but I would say Kai. I would say a tie. That's what I'm going on.
Okay. Okay then. Well, we saved 24 seconds. It's time to we did really
Okay,
well. Did really well.
pretty good.
So what I'm going to do now is add the scores together and we'll find out our winner.
A few moments later.
Okay, Jake. Well, we're back here with the scores, and as you can see, let me minimize us for just a second. So you had the poses split 4-4, and Kai winning 2 categories, but 2 of them were a tie.
Yeah.
And that comes out to a 60-40 Kai split.
Yeah, and that definitely reflects in what I was thinking. I think Kai did look better overall. You go pose for pose, and the ones that he lost weren't as, they weren't really that far off the mark, in my opinion, except for the side tricep. I think Nick smoked him in the side tricep.
Yeah, pretty
But
lopsided.
I just think, you look at the certain poses that I gave to Nick, the side chest could have gone to Kai. The ab and thigh, well, I guess I gave that to Kai. Did you give the ab and thigh to Nick?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Okay. Okay. So
Of course, no, I gave it to him with 2 points. I said it would
you know
be
what?
3 points
Yeah.
if it wasn't the if it
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
have
yeah,
the
yeah.
oblique.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like the ab and thigh, even if I had given it to Nick, which I totally see, it wasn't far off for Kai. And I still gave it to Kai. And then the most muscular, there's a case for Kai to win it. I mean, he looked pretty aesthetic in that hands-on hip. But then again, Nick was a lot more muscular. But then we look at the category on the, what is that, the second section. And yeah, I had Kai winning in the muscularity and the shape. And the conditioning, I prefer Kai's conditioning to Nick's, but at an objective level, I can understand that both are very similar but different. Like Kai and Nick brought similar levels of condition, but they have different qualities. Like Nick is more grainy, whereas Kai is more thin-skinned. So,
You know, I have a laser pointer option on Google Slides.
really?
Yeah, you see that?
Pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty. I don't think I can go back. Oh, yes, I can. Okay. Here's my scorecard. We both had Kai winning 4 poses, Nick winning 4 poses. We just he just had it in a different way. Yeah. How did that happen? You gave him the abs and thighs and side chest.
Mm-hmm.
And then what did I give Nick?
You gave Nick the
Oh, I
ab-
just okay. Okay, that makes sense. And then I gave Kai one additional category. I think I gave him the flaws category, and you didn't. But Nick didn't score anything but the tie point, so we actually had a denominator there. So my score was just a little more heavy-handed for Kai Greene, 62.4 to 37.6.
Yeah, and I think both of our results kind of are similar. And we spoke very similarly about the two in the comparison. I mean, I think we can both agree that Kai, from a genetic standpoint, was always better than Nick. I think that on stage between the two, at both of them being at their best, I think Kai would definitely win.
Yeah.
And I think you were talking about it earlier. Kai on stage versus on pictures is a different competitor, I think
Yes.
Kai looks a lot better on stage than he does in pictures. And that dominance that he asserted on the rest of the competition came about from the comparisons and not necessarily from him standing alone.
Yeah, a bodybuilder that may look better next to people than alone, and in pretty much all cases, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
But anyway, we have the final scores now.
Oh.
61.2 to 38.8. The winner is Kai Greene. Honestly,
Wait a minute. I had Nick Walker winning. I thought Nick Walker won. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just playing.
Well, do you think Nick did better or worse than you thought going into this? Because I actually thought the reason I brought you on in the first place was because in my head, I was like, I don't think I'm going to want to figure this out by myself. I don't. And I was like, in my heart, Kai Greene wins, but my brain was playing tricks on me. But then talking to you, talking it out, watching videos, I was like, no. In fact, I think Kai may win more than 61% of the time.
I mean, I think We were just talking about this with Kai, but I think Nick is another bodybuilder who tends to look better in comparisons than alone. Um, and I honestly, coming into this, I thought Kai was going to win. I had no doubt in my head, but the margin I was unsure of because Nick is a very respectable competitor today.
Yeah.
He's obviously never competed against Kai Greene, nor, in my opinion, has he ever competed against someone with that quality or caliber.
Derek Lunsford.
Oh, you're right. Nexzilla. He may compete against Nexzilla at the Olympia. And obviously he'll lose to him, but I think, and that's no shade to the competitors of today, but I would say that Kai Greene is a top 5 bodybuilder of all time. Maybe top 6, depending on who you want to flip around. But Kai has some of the best genetics of all time. He has some world-class top 5 of all time body parts, right? Like the arms, the legs. He is a mini Ronnie Coleman in that sense. But yeah, I do think that Kai on stage, like I think I mentioned this earlier too, Kai on stage between Nick and him at their best, Kai would pull ahead.
I want to highlight this video. This is the 2013 Prague, so the show we just used. But, Nick Walker's very comparable to Branch Warren. In a lot of ways, he's a modern Branch Warren. And I mean, I think Branch placed 3rd here. And I mean, next to Kai. Look, they're roughly the same height. They're very similar.
This was the 5th call out. Think about how good the 4th call out must have been.
There was actually some good guys. There were actually some good guys in the show.
Why is it called the 5th call out though? Is that
5th and final call out? Because they went through all of them. Yeah. This was a good show this year. What's Kai Greene's nickname?
Kai Greene, the myth.
The Predator. The Predator. And I kid you not, they had a light show at this event with the creatures. I think they're called like Yadawa or whatever from the movie. From the movie, doing a live show.
Like, that's sick.
No, it was a crazy show actually. But anyway, Nick
have you done a review of this show?
Yes, this top 3. Yeah, and I mean you can see here, Kai just easily. This was right after the Olympia, right after his second place finish, and he just. It's no contest. I
mean, honestly, looking at these guys, I don't even think Nick Walker would beat Dexter. Maybe that's crazy to say.
Dexter was so good here.
And again, I mean, yeah, Dexter is...
Even Branch. I think Branch doesn't get enough credit. Like, we'll let the video play again. I'll speed it up a little bit. But even Branch over there, all 3 of these guys were on, and Kai's still, like... Honestly, Kai may even be the most off here. I think there's an argument for that.
Because Kai has, he brings what Branch has, which is the mass, and then he also brings pretty decent aesthetics, not great, obviously, and he doesn't control his waist in the side poses like we see here. Oh, and you know what? It doesn't look as bad, though, in the video.
It's left adjacent.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, come on. I feel like Nick is just in a league of his own. In a negative sense,
he's so much bigger than the other 2. And I know Branch was known for the mass. Dexter wasn't, but like compared to Dexter, like they don't even. I mean, Dexter's back is good, but the amount of thickness there, Kai makes him look like an amateur, quite frankly.
Oh yeah, and then you look at Branch, and it's like, what is he even doing there?
Yeah, it's mangled. It's a little rough by this point. But I did do a comparison a while back with 2010 Branch versus Nick Walker, and I had Branch slightly ahead. So I think it stands to reason that Nick Walker would have had. Do you think? Okay, I don't think he would have done very good in this lineup. Maybe 4th out of these guys. Do you think he would do better today, or compared to the late? Or the mid 2010s.
Like as a competitive bodybuilder?
Yeah. Do you think he'd be more favored now or then?
He'd be more favored now, for sure. I mean, I think issues like the midsection would be less looked upon as like a negative back then. But come on, you look, the genetic depth, even in this smaller show, is ridiculous. I mean, Branch isn't known for crazy genetics, but he's known for having some of the best condition of all time. Obviously, you have Dexter and Kai. And then you also look at the people who comprised that top 5, or even just the top callouts at the 2013 Olympia. You had the debut of Big Ramy. You still had Jay Cutler. You had Phil Heath, Kai Greene, obviously, Dexter Jackson. Was Dennis Wolf there? I think he was. So you have a lot of these competitors that I just don't think Nick would be able to get around.
I don't think a lot of people would, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. I think the only bodybuilder, maybe only bodybuilders that would stand a chance in that lineup as they are now would be Samson Dauda. And it's hard to say, but I would say a very good version of Hadi Chupin as well.
Okay.
Yeah, like I think that Derek is very impressive, but I don't think
impressively bad.
Well, I mean that that Arnold Classic version, as much as I dislike all the controversial wins that he's been given, I think that Arnold Classic version in 2025, or I guess this year, was one of the most impressive physiques we've seen of the decade. He really put it all together, and the lighting helped him out a lot.
I want to pull up something else before we go. 2 more things before we go.
Yeah.
This was, honestly, William Bonac was there. Flex Lewis was there. A lot of guys were there. What a good show. Marcus Rule was there giving out awards.
Wow.
Man.
Wait, did Flex Lewis, was he there competing in the open class?
No, the 212.
Oh. Okay, I was about to say.
Oh, I don't know if I'll be able to find this. It was a light show with predators. I swear. Okay. You're not going to believe this.
Ooh, Lionel Bayeki was there too. Wow. Oh, you were competing as well?
Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
Is this you?
Yeah, that is me. And okay, they actually do some cool shit. I'm not even gonna lie. But okay, and this wasn't all. They came up multiple times because I've seen other footage of this. Maybe it's so. I mean, you don't see this at shows nowadays. They just used to have. They knew Kai Greene was coming, so they set up this special light show for him. Nowadays, you get like nickel and dimed for everything if you want to go somewhere.
I think, honestly, there's a benefit to that. Oh, what's going on here, man?
What is this? I think there's another one. This is pretty crazy. I can't believe, like...
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, pretty impressive. I want to pull up one more thing. As I said, I had 2 things. So this version of Kai, pretty good. We argued on off camera if this was better than 2012. We both said no, or at least that's what I'm saying now. But 2013 was pretty good. And this was put on my radar because Superset Man did this video. Ronnie Coleman versus Prague Pro Kai. It's better than you think. He's holding up a lot better than you think. This is 2003 Ronnie.
Yeah, I will say, I do have an issue with the footage from 2003 and 2004, and to a certain extent, like basically 2002 as well. The camera is really high up. So, and also, I just never thought that this video footage of Ronnie did any justice to how big he was at the show.
Of course.
Because I tried using it personally for videos in the past, and I just felt like it kind of distorted his proportions a bit. And again, like we were talking about with Kai Greene, if him and Nick Walker were on stage, Kai would win because the disparity would be pretty large. I think, obviously, Ronnie would win, and I think the disparity...
Superset Man had it 4-4. Who are you to argue with Superset Man?
You're right. We should stop talking then.
Okay, go through the poses.
Yeah. I would say Ronnie wins the front double.
Let me get a pin. Where's... Can't keep shit around here. This is my old one, I think.
I just think, I mean,
Oh, there it is.
who knows? I don't know if there's any other better comparison. You honestly, this might be something you could do. This would be a good comparison to do, honestly. I think it would be fun. But yeah, I would give Ronnie the front double. I mean, better separation in the arms, better separation like overall. Front lat spread, yeah, easily Ronnie's. Side chest, I would go with Ronnie again.
Okay.
Rear double, Ronnie again. Better hamstrings, better glutes, better overall.
Did Superset Man give that one to Kai? He did.
Yeah, I would give it to Ronnie. Rear lat spread, Ronnie again. Better.
I think that's the more convincing win.
Obviously better lower body. Side tricep, Ronnie again, but it's honestly close. Oh, but the side variation for Kai, I would give it to Kai. Ab and thigh, give to Kai. Most muscular, Ronnie.
Okay, so you gave him all 8 poses.
No. I said I would give
but
I would give Kai the side tricep,
okay,
and I would give Kai the most of the ab and thigh.
Oh,
Front lat spread though, just look for the fun of it. Just look up Ronnie Coleman front lat spread 2003. Just a picture. I mean, I feel like that is like the video does not do justice to it. I'm sure you know what he looks like.
I've never heard of Ronnie.
Oh,
was he good?
No, this is me.
Oh yeah, you guys look similar.
I mean, okay, I'm pretty sure that picture is photoshopped, the one up top. This one's not.
Yeah, but it's blurry. I'll have to go to Facebook. I'm not opening up my Facebook. Okay, front relax. That's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. Oh,
yeah.
Oh no, wait, that's something.
No, that is it though. That's 2003. I mean, come on. Look at the details in the chest. Kai did not have that. Everything is maxed out. It's just, I mean, you're talking about what did Kai Greene weigh? Maybe 250, right?
Maybe a bit more.
250, 260.
He was dense. That's what Phil
Ronnie
said.
was 183, something like that. Sorry, 283.
183.
183 pounds.
You said it with such
confidence.
He was 183, man. 183. Okay, let me go through these poses. I would give Ronnie the front double. Okay, now it starts. Ronnie the front double. Closer.
Just look at the front lats. Come on. I mean,
Front lat spread, Ronnie. Closer. Side chest, Ronnie. Not as close.
I think you have to just remember, though, the sizing and things like that are just off.
Oh, boy, here we go. You were complaining about sizing off camera. Or
no,
the size police.
It's not Superset Man's fault at all. Trust me. I've tried to use this version of Ronnie, and it's hard to size it with more modern video footage because they take the pictures at a very different angle, I guess you could say.
Okay, and then Ronnie wins, so he has 5 poses now. He wins the rear lat spread. Side tricep, I'd give to Kai. Abs and thighs, I would give to Ronnie, actually.
I just prefer Kai's like feathering and the better abs, but I could see Ronnie too.
You
Most
give
muscular, though. Come on.
You give and then you give Ronnie 5. Can I count? 6 poses. I gave him 7.
Yeah. I mean, also, you do have to remember, I mean, obviously this doesn't matter, but in 2003, the most muscular wasn't a mandatory pose. Not that... Wait, was it a mandatory pose in 2003?
By 2003, maybe. I think definitely by 04.
I thought it was 2004. But either way, I mean, if he hits it here, it looks like he's going through the mandatories, right?
Because Ronnie was always hitting
most
true. Musculars.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay. Well... Thanks for coming on, Jake. That was, like I said, I was kind of dreading it, but after we got down to business, talked it out, a meeting of the minds, I think we came to a very good conclusion. I came to my senses. Kai would definitely beat Nick most of the time. I would say I would bump it up a little, maybe like 70-30. I think Kai is that good. Honestly, maybe even more. Like you said, there's just a vast genetic difference. So
I just think that as it is, I can't see Nick, losing to Kai. At least a competitive version of Kai. Like anything after 2010. Or even 2009 Kai was really
you can't see Nick losing to Kai?
Winning. Sorry.
I can't see Nick winning to Kai. Okay.
I'm all out of whack.
So bodybuilding Mount Rushmore. Dorian, Phil, Ronnie, Jay. Because there's 4 people on Mount Rushmore. 4 people.
In terms of physique.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. But the closest competitor by far. So you have those four, and then a slight gap, and then after that, it's kind of a massive drop off. Like people are like, Kevin Levrone does not stand a chance against those four. Sean Ray does not stand a chance against those four. Physique wise, maybe, but we're not talking about that. But that fifth person is Kai Greene. I believe that. He can. Yeah. He's the only one that can consistently beat some of these versions of, maybe some versions of Ronnie, maybe some of Dorian, maybe probably some of Jay, maybe some of Phil.
I would say that Kai is in an interesting in between tier between being like a top 4 or GOAT, I guess you could say, and being like, because I would have someone like Big Ramy up there, a 2017 version, like a less version,
be maybe like 8th.
Yeah, I mean, he's up there in terms of having some of the best genetics of all time. I would have someone like, Neckzilla up there.
Oh, yeah, me too. Me too. Okay, imagine you see prime Neckzilla, Big Ramy, Ronnie Coleman, and Jay Cutler backstage. What do you do?
What is prime Neckzilla even? That's what I was thinking.
The 2028 Mr. Olympia.
Oh, where he wins his 3rd consecutive title.
No. Oh, no. I don't know if he'll ever win a title.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
You think he'll ever? I don't know if he'll ever win a show. I
don't know if That's so true, though. That's so true, though.
To be fair, if he had hopped into that Cali Pro, he probably would have.
Okay, well, you could have hopped into the Cali Pro and won. Like, let's be real.
True. I mean, well, I had to retire. I had to retire before
you gotta let somebody else win.
Exactly.
All right. Well, that's gonna do it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you what's your name? What's your channel name again?
Oh, Project Bodybuilding.
Yeah, subscribe to Project Bodybuilding. Subscribe to Jake Ultimate Fitness, doing a little different content nowadays. The tier lists, which are very interesting. We do some of those together sometimes.
Hey, you're the inspiration. That was the inspiration.
You steal all my ideas, so go ahead and go over to his channel, subscribe to him, and like this video, subscribe to my channel as well. Thank you from both of us, and we will see you all in our next videos.